So, very warm welcome to Lincoln School of Film and Media's Meet the Grads event 2015. This is part of the first College of Arts Creative Careers Festival. So we may have amongst us, hopefully I'm sure, a few students who are not part of LSFM, but you are warmly welcome. It's a brilliant way of bringing our graduates back to have a chat with you guys. First of all, in this rather formal setting, but there's a good reason for that. It does allow for a good conversation to take place. And then a more informal stint after that, and I'll say a few more words about that in a sec. I guess our biggest thanks, though, to our graduates who are dotted, they're all here, but they're also dotted around the room, for giving up a day of their time, their valuable time, to come back to Lincoln and to be with all of you. So make the most of it. Those of you who've made the effort to be here this afternoon, I promise it's not time wasted. You will pick up contacts, details, information, advice, tips, reassurance, but hopefully a sense of ambition and inspiration as well. In fact, not hopefully, definitely. For those of you in your third year, this is an important time, but those second years, first years, there's much you can pick up about what you can be doing along the way to prepare yourself for life, not just career, but life after university. Okay, so shall we give our graduates a really warm welcome and a round of applause? Thank you.
As a freelancer, how do you go about getting yourself known and networking with companies and stuff?
So freelancing, I mean, the biggest thing is having something to show people. So you need to obviously do a lot of your own work, and even if it's for free, just get some work going that you can show people and show a bit of like what you're about. Something maybe that you do differently, or something your strength is. And then get it into some kind of format that you can quickly show people. So if you're a film production company, say, get a showreel, a showreel together, maybe like 1-2 minutes of that you can just quickly show people this is what I'm about, things like that. I've got it here. I have a portfolio book that I just take with me, and then if somebody asks me what I do, I just give them the book, and then they can flick through it and see a bit about what I do.
I think some good advice would be is kind of tell everybody what you do, which without being annoying, but my Twitter hashtag is Holly Smith VFX. As soon as I follow somebody, they know, oh, VFX, she's a VFX artist, and that's actually how I got one job. I followed a supervisor at a company. I've got my showreel pinned to the top of my Twitter. They looked at my showreel and invited me for an interview. And they said, if your name had just been Holly Smith, they just thought I was just another follower. Because it was VFX, they thought, I'll check out that person's Twitter profile and have a look. And I think, have something to show ready to go. So when I was running in London, I was networking with clients all the time, even though I was just a runner and they might be an editor of a big film. But I had my VFX showreel on my phone, and I could just get it out and go, this is my VFX showreel. And that led to me getting work as well, because I was talking to the VFX editor and showed him my showreel. He was suitably impressed, and he said, I'll forward it to a VFX company that are doing the VFX on this film. So basically, tell anybody you meet, without obviously being ridiculously annoying and don't talk about yourself all the time, but just make people aware, and you never know who you're going to meet and what connection they will have to the industry. And definitely keep in touch with other graduates, especially VFX is a bit niche. Not everybody leaves this course to be a VFX artist. So when your graduates, say, who make their own production company, might need some motion graphics, animation work, they might think, oh yeah, Holly did that at uni, and then get in contact with you that way.
I think one of the most important things that you will hear all the way through uni, particularly on this course, or any media-related course, is it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you'll hear it again and again, and you'll think, well, what's the point? It's obviously a combination of both. You do have to know this stuff as well. But try and take it on board that actually if you're meeting people, you're out at events, if there is a networking event going on, even if you don't know if you belong there, just go anyway. Talk to people, and never really switch off completely from work. In fact, I was gutted today when I got here and someone asked for my business card, and it's the first day that I've left them at home, so I've actually run home to get them. Like, keep your business cards on you, and also have a website as well. Have somewhere to direct people so that they can see your content, whether it's audio or video or photography, whatever it is. If you have somewhere that someone can go easily to see what you can offer, then that's really important. And I know it's been mentioned a couple of times, but the people you're at uni with now, don't underestimate them. One of my closest friends from uni went on to work at Warner Brothers, and through that I got some really good contacts which helped me in my radio career and voiceover work. I ended up doing voiceovers for companies that would never have really known about me if it wasn't for the people I'd known already.
How do you make yourself feel like you could actually stand out of the crowds? Like I was saying, you're the small fish in the sea. How do you feel like you could actually make yourself stand out and be
Okay, so the question was, how do you make yourself stand out? So I thought it was about unique selling point. Should we start that way? Or
I'm
Yeah.
a little bit about
you know about that?
that. The thing is, you've got to be confident in yourself. Even when, you can't just go to an employer oh, sorry, I think that was a bit shit, I did a mistake there. Because they're not going to have any confidence in you that you're going to do that well. if you yourself that you're not very confident, or you can't do this, or you can't do that, then they'll just be like, well, why are we going to hire you? You don't even like yourself. So, to be honest, no one's ever completely unique. You've always been inspired by someone else down the line or whatnot. But it's just about how you sort of present yourself. Be confident. Don't just sort of drib-drab your work and kind of underrate it. Just be like, I spent this time on this. I really enjoyed it. I did work with frequency and stuff, and I kind of sort of was like, oh, by the way, I did this project, la la la, and they're like, oh really, okay. So do just sort of give subtle hints, I've done something fairly unique. Do a project that you're really proud of. Everyone has a project that they maybe don't want to admit to, but actually that was quite good. So kind of push that, oh, well, actually I kind of did this, and I think I kind of bragged about the fact I sort of led the degree show and all that stuff. And you do have to be kind of big-headed. You have to kind of blow your trumpet, not too much, not just be like, I'm the best and blah, 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 because you don't want to undermine the bosses, as it were, but just sort of be like, yeah, I can do this. Even if you're not entirely sure whether you can do a project, our company are kind of like the kings of last minute. Even when we don't think entirely sure whether we think we're going to be able to do a project, it's like, we need an animation in a day. And you're like, that's entirely possible. And then you do work it out, though. You do work it out most of the time. No, you do. There will be sort of obstacles and stuff, so you'll be like, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to travel there or do that, but you will work out. You'll be surprised at how resourceful you can be, and being able to cater your ideas to such weird time limits to do things. So maybe, king of last minute is quite a cool thing.
I think an important thing to say is don't get too bogged down in trying to find a very unique selling point, and sometimes just being incredibly passionate, incredibly friendly, and just getting on with people is one of the best ways to stand out from the crowd, because sometimes you find once you get out there as well and you start meeting other people that are trying to break in, there's so many different varying levels of motivation, and you might have some people who might be quite quiet or don't really find it quite difficult to talk about themselves and things like that, and you also have people at the other end of the spectrum who can be very arrogant and think they're the best person in the world, and it's these people are still you can still do well if you don't if you aren't so good at marketing yourself and things like that. But the people that always stand out are the ones that are most enthusiastic, the most sort of proactive, and get on with people very well. The great thing about this industry is it's a very social industry, and one of the things we often say about when you're looking for new camera crews and stuff is obviously helps to have people who know what they're doing, but you're going to be spending an intense amount of time with these people over the course of sort of 6 to 8 months. You want to be able to get on with them as well. So just being a friendly, social person can be a great unique selling point in itself.
For those of you who are self-employed and have your own businesses and such, what kind of process did you go through to get to that stage of running your own show? And were there any like massive pitfalls that people like me need to know to avoid and things like that?
My advice really would be use the facilities of the uni. I was really lucky that I managed to get on one of the enterprise scheme over at the Enterprise building. I'm not sure if that's still running and things, but that was so useful for me. I think it involved 15 hours of workshops, and I also got a bursary which paid for some of my startup costs, so I could buy the equipment that I needed and set up my own little recording studio at home. Keep your eye out. There will be opportunities out there to get these startup things. Also, it all comes down to networking again, but there'll be a lot of people about, who are either about to graduate or who have graduated, who went on to start their own businesses. It will be talking to them, what were their experiences. A key bit of advice would be to know your market. So when I decided I wanted to offer voiceovers, why should somebody pay for me? Doesn't everybody have a voice? So I needed to think of what my unique selling point was. And so, I've got quite I'm going to say boring voice, that really doesn't sell very well, does it? But I don't have a voice with like a strong accent. I don't do radio dramas, although I would if the opportunity was there. But know what your strengths are. So my voice is perfect for some of the things I've done, like health and safety videos or the odd advert. Kind of know what you can do and make sure obviously you've got the technically sound knowledge as well to back you up. Also get some testimonials, do a good job at something, do a really good job, ideally for somebody that's quite well recognised, and then shout about it. So on my website I will have testimonials from people that I've worked for who will say, actually, yeah, Gemma did a really good job at this. That helps. It's all down to marketing and getting yourself out there again.
My freelance came about because that's basically mostly what the VFX industry is. You're expected to work for short contracts. It could be a month, it could be 6 months, it could be a couple of days. And I was running, and I was full-time employment when I was running, and then I got the opportunity to work for a visual effects company as a junior artist, but they were like, you have to be freelance, and it's only a 3-month contract. And I was like, well, if I want to progress in my career, then I've kind of got to just leave this full-time job that's always going to give me money and go for this one that's only 3 months long. I ended up being at that company for 2 years. So I think I've been quite lucky because I was freelance, I didn't get paid holiday, and they used to shut down for Christmas for about 3 weeks, so you have to budget quite well. But then since I've been at that company for about 2 years, I felt like I wasn't going anywhere, so it's quite a small company, so then I went what I call proper freelance, where I was like, okay, I'm going to work from home, I'm going to be completely on my own. I've actually been back to that company, they still get me back when they've got work to do. So when you're self-employed, it's every time you work for somebody, you've got to make the best impression that you can, because if you don't, it's a small industry, they might know somebody and say, oh yeah, I don't work with that person. You can get, sounds scary, but blacklisted almost. Fortunately, I've never done that, and I've worked with people a couple of times and they'll come back and say, are you free? Another pitfall with being self-employed is that you accept a contract and then the next day a better contract comes along and you've either got to decide whether it's worth keeping the original contract you accepted or annoying that person and letting it go. So I got a 6-month contract at the National Space Centre, and then I think within the first week another company contacted me and was like, are you available? We've got this project. I kind of had to be like, sorry, I'm not available, because hopefully they'll still come back to me again in the future. But yeah, you've got to manage relationships with people very, very well whilst you're freelance. That's probably the biggest bit of advice, and also to budget for your time that you might not have work.
You've talked a little bit about the support that you get at university and the kind of networking side of things, but I wonder whether you could all talk about that transitional period between university and getting a job and starting your own business or whatever, and kind of your experiences with it and getting through it.
I'm still in my transition, as it were. I graduated in 2000. 8 or 9, whatever it says on there, I can't remember, it was a long time ago, with the aim of making a major motion picture, and I still haven't done that yet. I've made other motion pictures, made my own features, and continue to do so. And kind of echo some of what you're saying there is one thing is during that stage of when you've left uni and you want to go to that job you're after, one thing I kind of figured out quite quickly is you don't know where you fit in the food chain. You don't know how good or how bad you are because you're kind of on your own. And the default sometimes is to assume that you're not that good, when actually that's probably not the case. And the only way to find that out is to keep pushing on and believing in what you're producing. And the way I kind of think of it is that you've all been, you're on the course, you do 3 years, you think, right, that's it, now my life starts. Well, actually, it isn't. It kind of started like a long time ago. And what I mean by that is that it isn't just the university that's setting you up for what it is you want to do. It's everything that's happened before then, all the things you did to get on this course, and all the things that you do while you're on this course. So I would say that you should feel, try to feel, that you're pretty well set up, even before you graduate. You are good to go, like you were saying. Don't feel that just because you've now gone into a slightly bigger world, because you're already in a pretty big world here, that suddenly you're the smallest fish in the sea, because you're probably not. And it took me about 4 years to figure that out, and eventually, when I kind of got over myself, that's when things started to happen. So similar to what you said. So the transition from a sort of caring, sharing point of view is, you've got to keep going. There will be times when you are really fed up, when you're either working on a part-time job that's got nothing to do with media, and you just wish you could just get back into the edit suite and whatever. Make it happen. There's technology out there now. There are laptops you can edit on YouTube. You do all sorts of stuff. It's only yourself during that transition that's going to stop you from doing that. So make it happen.
Thank you.